They hid it for centuries. A text so controversial, so unsettling, that early church leaders decided it was too dangerous for the Bible. But why? What does the Apocalypse of Peter reveal that they didn't want you to know? If you think you know the full story of the Bible, think again. Buried in the shadows of ancient history lies a forbidden text called the Apocalypse of Peter. This isn't just another dusty scroll. It's a vivid account of heaven, hell, and the end of the world that could completely change how you view life, death, and the afterlife. Today we're diving deep into why this text was hidden, what it contains, and what it could mean for us today. Stick around, because you won't believe what's inside. Here's the thing. The Bible as we know it didn't fall from the sky fully formed. Over centuries, powerful leaders and councils decided what stayed and what didn't. The Apocalypse of Peter almost made the cut. In fact, some early Christian communities considered it just as important as the book of Revelation. So why did it disappear? Why did the church push it aside and label it dangerous? To answer that, we need to go back almost 2,000 years, to a time when Christianity was still taking shape. Imagine heated debates in dimly lit rooms, arguments over which books should define an entire religion, and a text so vivid and graphic that it made even the most devout question their faith. What is the Apocalypse of Peter? The Apocalypse of Peter is an ancient Christian text that offers a detailed vision of the afterlife. Written around the 2nd century, it paints a haunting picture of hell that's more graphic and terrifying than anything found in the Bible today. It describes specific punishments for sinners, liars having their tongues ripped out, blasphemers hung by their tongues, and murderers tormented in a river of fire. But it's not just about hell. The text also gives a glimpse of heaven, with vivid imagery of eternal joy and peace for the righteous. It's one of the earliest Christian writings to provide such a detailed dichotomy of the afterlife. Why was it hidden? The early church was divided. On one hand, the Apocalypse of Peter was immensely popular. It resonated with people because of its vivid descriptions and moral lessons. On the other hand, it was well too vivid. The graphic depictions of torture and eternal suffering were deemed excessive, even by some of the more hardline early theologians. More importantly, it raised questions. If God is merciful, how could such horrific punishments exist? If heaven and hell are real, why didn't other accepted texts describe them in such detail? These questions threatened to destabilize the church's teachings and unity. To avoid controversy, the text was eventually left out of the biblical canon. For centuries, the Apocalypse of Peter was thought to be lost. Then, in 1886, archaeologists unearthed a fragment in Egypt. It was part of a larger collection of early Christian writings that had been hidden away, possibly to protect them from destruction. This discovery reignited debates among scholars and theologians. Why was it hidden? Was it suppressed because it was too radical? Or because it contained truths that the church didn't want people to know? One of the most controversial aspects of the text is its suggestion that even sinners might eventually be redeemed. Unlike the eternal damnation described in the book of Revelation, the Apocalypse of Peter hints at the possibility of forgiveness and restoration, even for the damned. This idea clashed with the strict doctrines of the early church, which emphasized eternal punishment as a deterrent against sin. Here's where it gets even more fascinating. The Apocalypse of Peter doesn't just describe the afterlife. It challenges the reader to think about justice, morality, and the nature of God. Imagine being a believer in the 2nd century, hearing these words for the first time. On one hand, the vivid imagery of hell would have been terrifying. On the other hand, the possibility of redemption offered hope. It's a duality that still resonates today. And this duality is perhaps why the text was suppressed. It forces us to confront uncomfortable truths about the human condition, about suffering and salvation. It makes us question the very nature of divine justice. Is eternal punishment truly just? Or is there room for mercy, even in the afterlife? The Apocalypse of Peter is more than just a lost text. It's a window into the struggles of early Christianity, a time when believers were still trying to make sense of their faith and their place in the world. Its vivid descriptions of heaven and hell continue to captivate and challenge us, reminding us that the search for truth is rarely straightforward. So why was it hidden? Perhaps because it dared to ask the questions we're still asking today. Questions about justice, mercy, and what awaits us on the other side. If this blew your mind, you'll love what we uncovered about the Star of Bethlehem. Watch that video next.